Oh, my goodness, yeah. Hey there, young man. You're becoming a celebrity.
It was just really slow. Think. Hello. Take a look now. See.
If that will work.
I think it's one.
Like, can you pass that?
Yeah.
Morning, Bob.
Boy,
We're good.
time is valuable. isn't it?
I'm jumping on this bandwagon.
Yeah. Thank you. I answered the phone because I've been getting a lot of spam. I thought, well, wait a minute, maybe I'll take this one. And they canceled me.
How are you?
But thank you.
That saved you a trip.
You got a sunlight over there. Eh?
We're flying to fire all the time.
No, I thought the building.
Don't sound good.
Sunlight building. Huh?
Skylight.
Yeah, skylight, big one.
Biggest skylight.
Yeah, huge skylight.
It's supposed to be
Is everything
freezing.
just right?
I think so, yeah. They say it's supposed to be freezing, but it wasn't that cold when I,
But
mine is
tomorrow.
saying 40. Oh, tomorrow.
Tonight
it's
is-
supposed to drop.
it's cold.
Supposed to rain
I
this
hope it
afternoon.
doesn't freeze, that's all.
Yeah, exactly.
Raining now. Is it? Okay. Hopefully
Yeah,
it'll
it
get
was
rid
a
of the
little
snow.
when we came.
Can you walk out to the bird feeder?
Yeah, that snow was something, you know.
No, they don't have to.
There's no.
It's just
Document, so I can somehow create a new report because no matter if I turn it on or not, it still does not correct anything. I'm going through, I'm like, how there's a lot of spelling errors here.
the issues with,
Whatever it calls, whatever.
no, that they
But
can.
For next month, for next month, we'll have to,
I'm hard enough word.
Like, I don't know what's happening.
Okay.
Cheryl will.
oh, we had a call from EPS today. Yeah, farmers going on.
Oh, it is?
Probably needs battery.
Oh, I was gonna say, cause you know where I stash it, right?
Oh, yeah.
In a really not so emergent spot.
Yeah, double check, make sure it's not triggered. I don't need right now, but.
Gone.
I don't know an answer. I think just with the letter, and hopefully the knowledge writing.
Yeah, you see, yeah.
Yeah, only other thing.
What's that?
With Gavin, yeah.
I would like to start with later.
I know that's why I didn't go.
Well, I didn't go last Wednesday. So I had to was up for spring break, so I took her to a hotel. So she had power. And then shower. We'd seen it before.
We can't play that.
Usually call Gavin. He's his assistant. I call Roger.
That's what I said.
Yeah, real straight.
There's not much, but when I got reading, I'm thinking, well, it should say. What's to-
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I also talked to Cam. Times.
Okay.
I said, I'm talking to Gavin here and he says all the right things.
I looked at it and second look, I was like, that's what I got. I was like, strange. I was like, oh, wait.
Pushing that. You don't have to let it
They just build where the scales are, you just go around the.
No requirement for training.
That's a little scary. Right, it's all around us. It's where you don't expect it. It's where it's dangerous.
I'm just asking.
I do there. Something's out of place. Right?
I know it. You just have to put it back. don't you?
Gotta have something to do with it.
I know it. Can hear you like way back.
That doesn't sound right. That's not the right words. Anyway, how are you?
We should get new chairs.
He's from Northern.
I tend to look
Oh, he's in Northern music.
We,
He's there, gonna go there.
I told my daughter that no matter what, we're going on Wednesday. We're taking off Monday
Oh, I like
evening.
it. That's far as I'm concerned.
And we got home and my wife's like, well,
I said,
there's no power. I'm
I'm
just gonna get another hotel for us.
I'm
I'm like,
We're good to go.
skip the rest of the day.
Yep, you are ready to go.
We got home and.
We just have one more minute.
Yeah.
Especially the south part of Alameda County, much harder than the actual.
We'll call to order, roll call, everyone is present. Can we stand to the pledge of allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, approval of the agenda.
I'll make the motion, we approve the agenda.
We have a motion to approve the agenda. Do we have a support?
I'll support.
Motion and support. Any discussion? All in favor, say yes.
Yes.
Yes,
Opposed, no. Agenda approved. The approval of the minutes for BOC meeting March 12, 2026.
We need to make a change in minutes. On
On the back of our minutes for reassignment of committee appointments, it should say approve the reassignment of the committee appointments to James Madison. His name should be in there.
I'll support. So tell me again. So motion Hardy, seconded Peltier to approve the reassignment of the committee appointments to James Madison.
Yes.
So just add that, the rest of it can stand.
Yes.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say yes.
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 Opposed, no. Minutes with the amended
So read it.
addition.
Who seconded that?
I did.
Okay, thank you.
Michelle made the motion and I.
If I knew Michelle made the motion, okay.
Claims and accounts, March 13, 2026 through March 26, 2026.
Claims in the amount of $42,782.53. EFTs in the amount of $61,094.79. Desk checks in the amount of $18,987.12 for a grand total of $122,864.44.
I'll support. Any discussion on the claims and accounts?
Second.
Just to make sure, because she was reading off the numbers, but I didn't hear anybody actually make a motion. So,
I'll make the motion to accept the claims and accounts. I'm
all
sorry.
right, thank you.
I'll
And
second.
Jim seconded.
Oh, okay.
Gotta speak up, Jim.
Any discussion on the claims and accounts? Hearing none, roll call, please.
DeBrent,
Yes.
Hardees,
Yes.
Peltier,
Yes.
Hamlin,
Yes.
Madison.
Yes.
Okay. Claims and accounts have been accepted. Limited public comments, and per our board policy, I just remind speakers that public comment must not include personal attacks on individuals or staff. It includes not naming a position such as clerk, treasurer, controller that are identifying in nature. Staff and county officials are requested to be asked to be on the agenda and to speak and not use the public's time. Thank you. Public comments.
Can I just? All right, hi, this is Christine Tolan, Atlanta, Michigan. Before I begin, I want to briefly acknowledge something fundamental. The First Amendment protects not only free speech, but specifically the right to speak openly about public officials and conduct of public business. Courts have consistently upheld the discussion of public officials, including their actions and decisions, and it's protected as free speech in public meetings like this one. With that in mind, I'm here today to speak about fiscal responsibility, transparency, and public access. I want to start by recognizing that there has been movement and progress in the controller position. Efficiency and forward motion can be a great thing, and I believe we all want to see our county operate effectively and efficiently. However, progress is not the only goal. Responsible and well-researched decision-making is. There have been instances in 2025 where requests to delay votes for additional review or comparison were denied, even when those delays could have allowed for more thorough evaluation of cost-effective options. Moving quickly should not come at the expense of doing things correctly or at the best financial interest of the county. We've also seen decisions that directly impact public participation. The board previously approved a schedule with both morning and evening meeting times to allow broader access. When asked whether there was data showing attendance or viewership trends, there was no clear information available. The next meeting after a commissioner resigned, the motion was brought forward to move all meetings to the morning, and it passed. I would respectfully ask, how was that decision made in consideration of the public? No survey, poll, or outreach appears to have been conducted, despite the county demonstrating the ability to gather public input on other issues, such as the recycling. If accessibility and transparency are priorities, gathering feedback on something as important as meeting times seems like a reasonable step for our community. Over the past year, there have also been significant salary adjustments within county administration. On November 21st, a request was made to increase the controller's salary to $107,250, representing a proposed increase of $27,000. Following board adjustments and December, the salary was then set to 91,900, which is an increase of just under 18,000 from base pay or just under 12,000 from base pay with the BA grant stipend. For a county operating in a budget that ranges between 8 to 10 million, this is a substantial increase within a single year, especially considering that the position is supported by additional staff and no change in responsibilities was noted as a cause for the change. I believe it is responsible for residents to ask, how are these compensation decisions being evaluated against the size of our budget, the scope of responsibilities, and comparable roles such as clerk and treasurer? In addition, there was a reported loss of approximately 50,000 in BA grant funding last year due to an oversight related to a change in submission requirements. That raises an important question, how those funds were accounted for in the budget and how that shortfall was addressed, particularly in a year where there were significant salary increases that were still approved. Transparency is not optional, it is essential for public trust. So I'm asking for clear answers, consistent documentation, and a commitment to financial accountability and public accessibility that reflects the expectations of the residents. Thank you. And welcome to the Board of Commissioners, Mr. Madison.
You want us to use this?
Oh, no, that's just for your information. Good morning, William Houston, trustee, Atlanta Senior Center. Number 14 on the agenda has to do with the request by McCullough for a millage. McCullough professes to want community engagement. This is the opposite of what happens in practice. In McCullough's February meeting, there was no discussion of the ballot language or an opportunity to review the language before the motion was passed. The previous millage was from 2020 to 2025. Is this new millage a renewal or is it an extended request? If we're paying the tax, we should have a voice in determining the services. We asked to see the proposed bylaws. We were refused that. And our question is Atlanta still on the McCullough board? NEMSCA, Region 9, and this board stated that they have no control over McCullough, but we as county citizens do. McCullough has never outlined what this millage request is for. Atlanta assumed that we would get congregate meals, and as you know, the congregate meals were stopped. McCullough is also exploring a new single center structure. My question then is, what happens to the Hillman and the Lewiston centers? The other question is, if the millage passes, what guarantee do we have from McCullough in regard to the services that they will offer to the seniors in this county? Thank you.
Public comment?
That I can read here, I just had eye surgery. My name's Annette Sokol. I'm here to view a public comment. I appreciate the work you do here and just want to share a few community concerns to make sure everyone's voice is heard. I am speaking today as a resident who values accountability through the decision-making of our county government. I have noticed a pattern in recent meetings, recommendations, and administrations are often approved with limited discussion to follow-up questions. While trust in the staff is important, so is independent review. The role of the board is not to approve decisions, but to evaluate them, to ask questions, request comparisons, ensure the decisions are in the best interest of the public. When decisions are made quickly or without visible scrutiny, it can give the impression that oversight is being reduced, even if that is not the intention. I would encourage the board to take more effective role in asking questions, seeking clarifications, demonstrating that each decision has been carefully considered. That level of diligence builds up public trust, ensures the responsibility of the governing remains where it belongs with the elected board. Thank you for your time.
Public comment?
Thank you.
Shelley Rose. As we enter the second quarter of the year, I encourage the board to take the time needed to make fiscally responsible decisions. Good governance requires good process. I will highlight two decisions from 2025 that in my view show why a more deliberate process would benefit both the board and the taxpayers. First, the vehicle lease decision. The controller, with the help from Enterprise, presented three options: lease 5 Dodge Durangos, a 5-year cost of $352,000, purchase 5 new vehicles, a 5-year cost of $363,000, lease 5 Ford Interceptors, a 5-year cost of $423,000. Board discussion focused on the two cheapest options. During discussion, Enterprise acknowledged that assumptions could be refined and offered to pause the decision to work with the county. I recommended forming a committee, including the sheriff, mechanic, controller, and 2 commissioners with differing viewpoints to review the assumptions and long-term costs before committing. That recommendation was not supported. Near the end of the discussion, the county mechanic noted that leasing Durangos would require purchasing new spare parts since current inventory is compatible only with Fords. Immediately after that comment, a motion was made and passed to lease the Ford Interceptors. Based on the numbers, this choice was $70,000 more expensive than leasing Durangos and $60,000 more expensive than buying new vehicles. The decision was made without a full comparison of replacement parts, upfitting costs, maintenance, and other factors. Second is the wage increases included in the 2026 budget. This is not about whether people deserve increases. It is about the process used to determine them. The wage comparisons were developed by the controller. Those comps changed several times within a month. October 31st, a draft budget included a 32% increase for the controller and 3% COLA for electeds and staff. November 21st, a revised draft included a 45% increase for the controller and 17 to 22% increase for electeds and the undersheriff. November 26th, a recommendation was presented with a 24% increase for the controller and 15 to 19% increase for electeds. The 45% increase aligned with the average of the 5 highest comps. If the 5 lowest comps were averaged, the controller's 2025 wages were already in line. The approved increases totaled roughly $84,000 for 7 individuals, not including COLA for other staff. The controller's job description includes developing a 5-year budget forecast. Had that been completed and available, it would have provided a clearer picture of the long-term impact of these wage decisions and vehicle decisions and allowed for a more informed evaluation for options. A fiscally responsible approach would have considered alternatives such as an objective third-party wage study and phased implementation. These examples raise reasonable questions for the public. Are decisions being made with sufficient information? Are taxpayer dollars being managed responsibly? Finally, I want to remind the board, especially the chair, that each commissioner took an oath to uphold the U.S. and Michigan constitutions. Rules that restrict what citizens may or may not say during public comment risk infringing on constitutional rights. Transparency and open dialogue strengthen public trust. And welcome, Mr. Madison. Happy to have you representing my district.
Public comment?
Morning, everybody.
Morning.
We're here before we get started. I guess just to start with, I'm Denny Davis to start with. I kind of a public person and I have been representing these seniors in the past. I just have one question actually to the board that I would hope maybe you could just inaudibly as time goes along. You've appointed a new board member. You had opportunity to appoint a different one other than Jim. Jim sat on different board, and my question is it a conflict of interest with him sitting on 2 boards? Or does that mean that the board that he has vote on McCoa, not a vote? He does not have a vote.
Not on McCoy anymore.
So he does not have a vote.
He's not on McCoy anymore.
Not on McCoa. So Lewiston does not have a representative then at this point in time on McCoa board. Okay, well, that clears that. Thank you. Okay, good morning. I'm asking you to consider this. I'm asking you, this is about the millage verbiage that will be coming up here later on. I'm asking you to consider the separation of the dollars on the millage that will be requested by the McCoa organization. The earlier millage portion retained by McCoa that was documented from McCoa ceased using the kitchen at the Atlanta Senior when they ceased using the kitchen. The monies described in the document should be used specifically for the Atlanta Center, I feel. Each center has a specific cost to McCoa in budgeting. I'm asking you to require in their millage request to separate verbiage to justify the millage dollars spent in respective areas because they come from 3 different locations and we actually had 3 different centers started. Just to relate to that, Presque County has a millage and they actually present 10% of their budget to Rogers City, who is not in their program. It's a separate program, but it is a knowledgeable thing where they separate their funds and give it to another agency. Just an example here locally, $134,000 times the millage for 6 years equals $804,000. And this is without representation to the Atlanta people, because they were the ones that quoted it cost them $134,000. And Jim can probably verify this, that they said it cost to operate the Atlanta Senior Center. So that assumes that it costs that much for Lewiston, costs that much for Hillman for using their kitchen. If you're considering considering a 1 mil vote, and I'm not sure whether it's 5 or 6 years, whether this is a renewal or a new millage for 6 years with no representation for the funds. Actual monies paid out to McCullough, as example for this next year, will be $633,000 for our county budget to pay in McCullough. May I finish or not? This is all financial for everybody. These are your tax dollars going at. There's $633,000, and that's for every year for your local millage, with additional funds from the Fed, the state, the local donations increasing, with McCullough to be able to work with over $1,100,000 to work with, and this is without representation, not being able to answer questions to the various requests at different times. Last thing, McCullough board, all inquiries to be sent to their attorney if requested by Bill or myself. This is not to be considered by the McCullough board. They took a vote on this. They said that all correspondence to Bill and I would be going straight to their attorney. Thank you very much.
And Lewiston is represented by John Muller.
John Muller. Good, thank you.
Public comment?
Doug Morrison from Hillman. I've run the grocery store all my life. I've done over 200 interviews. I sat here the last meeting and listened to 2 gentlemen do the interview. The first guy, he brought a lot to this board. He answered, I thought, a great 5 questions that he had to answer. He gave a paragraph per each answer. I thought he had some good steps for you guys to have him on there. The second gentleman that stood up, he answered his 5 questions. I think the most words he said out of the 5 was maybe 3 words. So for you guys electing him and voting on him to be the thing, I thought that was a total joke. I thought the whole interview was a total joke, how it was run. So, I mean, you know, you got what you wanted to have. You got your 4th vote. I think, and we will look back at this and you'll start seeing we were a 3-2 vote, no matter what was going on in this county. It was always a 3-2 vote. Yep. Now it's gonna be a 4-1 vote. And just take my word and watch it, and you're gonna find out that's what's gonna happen.
Wow.
The other thing that bothers me, I give this board 18 months before their growth. And the reason I say that is I'm watching a lot of money being pissed around on doors, locks, keys. How many times did they change the system in this courtroom for this courthouse building? You know, where's the money gonna come from when you got 5 more leased cop cars? You already got 2, and we haven't even ever got a report on the 2 that you got. You were supposed to give us a report after 2 years. So before the 2 years even came up, what did you do? You leased 5 more cars. I'm just questioning where's all this money going to come from? Your general funds are short right now, $877,347. I was told that that's all going to come back when the guy comes and does all the work on it. I hope it comes back at 700 or 877,000. And I hope that you don't have a short out of that, because if you do, we have an inner problem here. So thanks for your time. I appreciate it.
Public comment?
My name's Doug Smith from Lewiston, Michigan. Just like to say, I don't know if I'm up here again wasting my time, because I made a public comment last year about the public safety, and nothing has been done about it. Last week, I'm sorry, 2 weeks ago, there's been contractors up in our township, in our counties, doing cable work, fiber optic work, TV work, tree service work. And only half of them that I've seen are closing down half the roads. And they're not using proper lane passing systems with slow signs and stop signs. And to witness almost a head-on collision from one of our residents is not fun. And if that's what's gonna take for somebody to get killed before this board says to our outside contractors, look, if you want to work in our county, you got to go by these rules. It's simple. And like Doug said, he's seen this courthouse, the locks changed and this and that. I don't believe this is a courthouse anymore or a board house. It looks to me more like when I was growing up, my parents took me to a circus from the decisions that are being made. Thank you.
Public comment? Hearing none. Emergency, department head reports, emergency management. Good morning. Good morning.
So you notice on this month's report, there is a new logo. So that kind of sets emergency management apart, but yet it complements the county logo. So you'll see that starting to circulate on communications. It's been a busy month, and I don't think I included even nearly half of what I needed to on this, but I try to keep it to one page for you all. I had the opportunity to attend the career fair at Johannesburg Lewiston High School. What an opportunity it was for our students in the county. It was fun. There's not many students out there that know what emergency management is, so that was really exciting. And I received some communication from someone local that graduated from Johannesburg High School, and they said, wow, this is cool. I didn't know what emergency management was in high school, and lo and behold, they live in Illinois now, and they are in emergency management at a university. So I thought that was really cool. The ice storm that we recently had, thank goodness that Montmorency County, it jumped over our county, but we were very well prepared. We have some wonderful responder departments here. We actually had held a meeting Saturday prior to the storm here in Atlanta. We had probably 25 to 30 different responders, agencies coming together here in Atlanta for a meeting on planning. So when we can plan before an incident, we do. And so that's important. And that was wonderful. We had communications set up just so where we can keep in touch with you as commissioners, as well as our township supervisors and all of our responders. So when communications are working and they don't fail, I felt this last ice storm that we kind of got, the communication was ultimately flawless, which I thought was great, but that's how it's supposed to work when we have communications, right? So if you're interested, I do have an ICS, which is the Incident Command System 214, which is a form we use when we're kind of mapping out what we do in an incident. So I did kind of keep track of how that all played out and what was done on the emergency management side. So I can share that with you if you're interested in seeing that process. We do have a weather spotter training scheduled for May 15th here in Atlanta. So information will be circulating on that for folks that want to get more involved with weather spotting. April and I have been working, we had gotten some information from some of our state and federal politicians regarding congressional spending. So there's an opportunity for
just about anyone, local community colleges, county government, to be able to apply for project money through congressional spending. April and I worked together to put together a project. It is all public safety, emergency management focused. And I am thankful for the support of local departments and townships for letters of support to that project. So that project went in. As well as yesterday, I just submitted a grant through the Michigan Community Service Commission that will help us develop a volunteer and donation plan for disasters. So it's kind of a preparedness thing that goes along with what I'm working on with our sheltering. And so those monies will allow us to have a facilitator come in. We'll work with local volunteers to create a local volunteer plan and a donation plan, because the county, in a disaster, we personally, the county, cannot accept funds. And so we need to have that in place ahead of time. So that's something we're going to work on. Who will ultimately be that person that's financially responsible for those donations. So very important. We also still have room for the Great Lakes Homeland Security Conference, if anybody's interested. I think there's one spot remaining on that. And we've got some grants out there we're waiting to hear back on. And let's see. I think that's it as far as the things to touch on.
What about the radios, the rave contract?
Oh, yeah. So our rave is our, and just for Jim's purposes, rave is our county notification system. And that contract goes through May 31st of 2027. It has been very challenging. Customer service is very poor with that company. We have been, April and I both have been communicating back and forth. We cannot break that contract. They are not willing to reimburse us. If we were to cease that contract now, they're not willing to reimburse us that year or so. And so I've dove into looking at companies that provide the same service. And so the state actually is moving away from Code Red, and they're going with a company called Everbridge on April 17th. And so that doesn't mean that we have to change from what we're doing. It just means that the state is now supporting another company. If we want to get that iPause service free, because if we go with what the state goes with, it's free, then we would go with Everbridge. And so I've been getting demos. Everbridge was one of them. Genesis, Code Red, there's a whole handful of them that I've been reviewing, getting demos on. So Everbridge is very financially reasonable compared to the other companies. And since this RAVE contract was purchased with ARPA money, I want to make sure that we're not spending too much on the notification system, but something that's robust enough for us to use. So yeah, so the intent is to try to nail a company down here in the next 6 months and start making that transition. So when May comes, we are ready to go, because right now RAVE is not being used very much because the customer service has been very poor.
So how were you communicating during the ice storm? Just by cell phones and?
Yeah, email and
regular meetings.
Yeah, email and cell phone. So if there was something that came through like a tornado, the RAVE system most certainly would be used, because it's an instant notification to all of our residents, whether they want it or not. You will get a notification. But as far as notifications, like with this ice storm, we didn't use RAVE. We don't want to use it too much where our residents want to ignore it because they're irritated that I keep sending out messages. So I really try to use a notification system for the urgent type things. And then we'll try to use other avenues if they're available. Luckily they were, with email, social media, the text groups that I have been texting you all in. So that's how we'll kind of communicate outside of that RAVE system. So work in progress.
So there's nothing exciting that came out of this, even though it didn't hit us? That
nothing
made
exciting.
any changes?
No, I think I was not here for last year's ice storm, but I was in Presque Isle County. So like I said, a lot of the things you all experienced here, I did too in Presque Isle. Very similar counties population wise. And so, the communications, because we continued to have communications through this ice storm and we didn't have, hundreds of people without power, things flowed like they should have. And so we were very fortunate that we were able to do that. And that's not always the case, as we know from last year. So.
Because you didn't need to activate anything and
Correct.
you didn't have to do any.
Yeah.
Anybody else have questions? Yeah.
Sure.
Do we have any
Wow.
info about, I heard like the FEMA type F funding, is that something, I know the counties received the first round, but do we know if there's any possibility we could receive from there, where like something like that would cover and buy out the rave contract or?
Actually, no. So the only monies available right now are for utility companies.
Okay.
And they're through that avenue with rave. I don't think that that's an applicable expense for what we just went through. I mean, for last year. And so it's just, and unfortunately, because a lot of times grants won't cover like ongoing subscriptions. And so this is considered a subscription because it's, the county got into a 5-year contract with this company. And so it's a subscription ultimately. So most grants will not cover subscription. They cover stuff and people and processes and not subscriptions. So, but thank you for bringing that up, and I'll look into it a little bit more, just in case there's something out there. So.
Thank you, Sarah.
Yep, thank you.
Committee reports, Matt?
LPT, LEPC, I did that one, and we'll be establishing bylaws in the future for more formal way of running the meetings for public purposes. That's going to be required by the state, I believe, in the near future. And Sarah pretty much covered all the talk of the rave system going on. We're going to be having a National Guard EOC exercise June 5th.
June 8th.
June 8th.
Yep.
Okay, read down writing. June 8th. I think it's gonna be what, by the 4 corners of the counties. And our hazard mitigation plan is due February of 2027. And that's pretty much the major things that went on.
Okay. And that was landfill too, the hazard mitigation. You did landfill, didn't you?
No, they canceled it this
Oh,
week.
okay. Storm.
They canceled the meeting
Okay.
because of the weather.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, yeah, that was that Friday. Michelle?
I attended that, yes. And then DHD 4, we finally have a balanced budget. We have revenues in reserve. We reviewed the bylaws and those were approved. There's a 4% raise for employees, and that's effective June 1st. The medical director had talked about bovine tuberculosis. And we had hired a full-time environmental health sanitarian back in, and they will be in the Sheboygan area, and that's effective immediately. And that's it.
Yes, had one board meeting with Northeast Michigan Community Mental Health Authority. We had reviewed some of our board policies, brought them up to date. And we had one of the we're talking about things that are coming up, like our 2-mile run, activities that bring community mental health up into the public and let everybody know where we are, what we're doing with exposure, like our 2K run.
One of the best things that we had, I was very surprised, was our board member recognition. And this was with board members. I'd like to see something come out with all of the members that work for community mental health, but I was told that'd be a pretty big list. But the board, I was surprised. There's 2 members on the board that have served on that board for 11 years. That's a long time. 2 that served 5 years, 1 that served 6, 2 that have served 3 years, which are both from Montmorency County, and 2 that served 2 years, and a brand new one that's on her first year. So I was pleasantly surprised with that. That's all I had.
And I had the ILA, Materials Management Planning. And again, we're going to have a meeting here in April. It'll be Cheryl, myself, and April. She's doing the proxy for the MFP to decide more about siting and plans and how we're going to implement the plan going forward. It's not written yet, but to get a preview of all of that. I was on DHD4, Michelle gave that update. And FPS, we've already given that update, so we're good. The controller's report, we received that in our packet. We don't need to review that. There was no discussion items, unfinished business action items. There wasn't anything there. New business, we'll talk about the McCoa millage renewal request. It is a renewal according to the language that we were given. Cheryl, did you have a chance to review that millage language?
I mean, I looked at it, but I have no say in what's in there. The only thing my knowledge of ballot language is basically up to tell how much it is that you're asking for, the term that it's going to be for, and then how much money it's going to raise in the first year, which it has all 3 of those items. What the rest of it is up to them and their attorneys. One thing I would note though, in the excerpt that was submitted, I'm seeing the board, they're indicating board action on January 15th. The motion was to submit the proposed ballot to the attorney. And then the next paragraph, they referenced that the revised language was presented at the regular meeting February 19th, but they didn't indicate if there was an actual motion. So that would be a question that you might want clarified to make sure that they've approved their own language that was corrected by their attorney. That was the only thing I guess I note in that.
Okay, I can read the millage proposal for 2026. The ballot language that was presented is: shall the county of Montmorency levy 1 mill, $1 per 1,000 of taxable value upon the real and tangible personal property within the county of Montmorency to be used for the programs of the Montmorency County Commission on Aging, commencing with the 2026 levy through 2031 inclusive. The proposed millage is a renewal of an expiring millage previously authorized and will raise in the first year of such levy an estimated amount of $661,669. That's what's been prevented in the language for us. And they also included the excerpts, like you said, from the minutes. And I agree, I don't see where they made an actual motion in February.
Did you want me to follow up with?
Yeah, that will need to be followed up with, because they did, like Cheryl said, they did identify that they did make that motion in January, but they did not in February. So I guess I'd make a motion to table that at this time until we are sure that they've made, they've actually done the motion on their end.
I'll second that.
We have motion and support. Do we have discussion? All in favor?
I'd like to see more language in there, like Dennis thing, that specified more equal treatment among the 3 towns, Lewiston, Atlanta, and Hillman.
Yeah,
Right now Atlanta's kind of treated like redheaded stepchild only gets the crumbs from what's left over between the other two, it seems like to me.
That would need to be done on their end. Yeah, to add such a, add that in. So when Dawn looks that up, she can add that recommendation was suggested. Any further discussion? All in favor of tabling this until we identify if that was voted on? All in favor, say yes.
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 Opposed? No. Okay. And I do not know when their next meeting is, when it will be in conjunction with our next meeting. What day do they meet?
The third.
That'll be next week. Good.
4:30.
Okay, so we might possibly be able to know by the meeting after that. Well, no, that'd be in April. I
Yeah,
apologize.
I'm sorry, we're on the fourth Thursday.
Yeah, that would be
Yeah.
April, so it'd be the end of April before we'd be able to reconsider that again. Okay. Resolution. There's a resolution in front of us. We had a resolution that came and Cheryl had passed that on to us. And April put it into kind of our format as is, but she put in the exact language that it had come to us on. So if everybody's had a chance to review that and read it, there are some questions in the wording, but I need to clarify with Cheryl. She probably has a better idea how it's affecting our county per se. But that where it says the fourth whereas, I'm not sure about our first-hand experience with this, Cheryl.
Well, I can tell you what my experience has been. Again, this is in regards to sheriff sales. So basically, the statute on a sheriff's sale, it's not an actual court proceeding. So in some of the procedure is kind of vague, but in the statute, it basically says that after a sheriff's sale, if there's excess proceeds, they get turned over to the county clerk. And then from there, if nobody else makes a claim, there could be options where somebody could make a claim towards it or not. But what has kind of occurred in years past, we really didn't worry about it too much because a lot of times these mortgage foreclosure sales were kind of reversed and they weren't getting the money, the banks weren't even getting the money that was owed to them. So there wasn't excess proceeds, I guess. And now because the market has kind of changed, you're seeing a little bit more where properties are going for above what the mortgage lender is requesting. So I have had a couple instances, one in particular where some rights were signed over, or their interest, the landowner's interest was signed over to a company. And for whatever dollar amount it might have been, I don't remember specifically, but in that particular paragraph, it's talking about vulnerable residents after an auction had been concluded, an instance where an heir was paid $100 to sign away their rights to a $10,000 note surplus proceeds. So I do know in that one instance there, what the person was probably given to sign over their proceeds was less than what the proceeds ended up being. But I think that this particular resolution does address some of the concerns that I have, because I have currently one right now that I had to turn over to the county attorney because I have a competing parties on this overage, and it's a significant amount of overage. So number one, the thing is that bothers me the most is that the taxpayers are having to pay this burden of having to seek legal counsel for a case that we have. It's not even a court case. It's nothing that has to do with the county and the county residents other than a homeowner hasn't paid their mortgage. So now we're being left with, well, what do we do with this leftover money? How do I track down a property owner to say, hey, there is an overage? How do I, as a county clerk, who the monies have been, submitted to my office for receiving in, how do I, handle people that come into me that I have no idea who these people are and say, well, I want my money. Here's where this person assigned their rights to me. I should be getting that excess proceeds. I'm not a judge. I'm not an attorney. So, it's been a very gray area for county clerks in other counties. And I think that yes, I think there are companies out there that are predatory and they are, going after residents, whoever they might be, whether, elderly or not, that don't realize maybe that they could have this excess money.
So, but this particular incident, that wasn't ours, or was that the one you were?
It was
referring to
not
right now?
ours.
Okay.
I initially received this resolution from Kalkaska County. Kalkaska County submitted a resolution supporting House Bill 51, 52, and 5153. And I read it through, and the only thing I seen that was lacking was that in the one paragraph where it talks about the burdens on the county departments, it never named the county clerk's office. And in my opinion, I think that it should be, and I see that April did maybe put that in for, as my suggestion, because ultimately I happen to be the first one that, how do I find these people? I'm sending out certified mailings, trying to track down these people at their last known addresses. I've got maybe attorneys calling that might represent an interested party. How do I handle that? Now I have to get a hold of a county attorney. Now the residents are having to pay a county attorney bill for something that we didn't create.
Did you get feedback from the attorney yet?
I have. So on this latest one, yes. And in this particular instance, he's saying the person that has this company that has a secondary interest to the property needs to file an actual court case. So, but in other instances, I've had prior attorney counsel tell me, no, as long as they have a notarized in these affidavits, then you have to turn that money over to people. So anyways, I'm trying to come up with a procedure and I'm not getting any clear answer on some of it.
So this bill would do away with any right to assign your property or transfer it to?
I don't think so, because it looks like in the bills, the House bills, they make it so that there has to be notification. There has to be notification to the homeowners that they're talking about this requiring a mandatory plain English notice of rights for any conveyance of property after a foreclosure notice is recorded. So, but again, I'm not sure who sends out that notice. I don't remember.
That's what I was just going to say, so.
I'd have to look here. It should be, as far as I'm concerned, it should be the foreclosing entity.
Right.
But I'm not remembering right offhand. It was a couple days ago that I looked at this, but I think it kind of helps with some of the process. I don't think it totally, though, solves the problem that, counties have, whereby we need to figure out how to, how to dispose of this excess proceeds. But I think this more leans towards the targeting of individuals that unknowingly sign over their rights when they could potentially have a significant amount of proceeds or not. I mean, it could be for a simple amount, but either way, this just provides more notification to the homeowner, the original homeowner, that says, hey, you have a right to this if you want it. I don't think it eliminates their ability to sign over their rights. I'm not reading that anymore.
I can read it for the benefit of the House. House Bills 5152 and 5153 have been introduced in the Michigan legislature to amend the revised Jurisdiction Act of 1961, providing, critical protections for homeowners during mortgage foreclosure proceedings. And whereas the county officials in Michigan have identified a pattern of predatory practices where third-party firms target vulnerable residents who are facing mortgage foreclosure, and whereas these firms exploit homeowners and heirs by convincing them to sell either the property itself or their statutory rights to surplus foreclosure proceeds and redemption, often stripping residents of tens of thousands of dollars in home equity for a fraction of the true value. And whereas county officials have witnessed firsthand these firms targeting vulnerable residents after an auction has concluded, including an instance where an elderly heir was paid $100 to sign away her rights to over $10,000 in known surplus proceeds. And whereas these predatory activities not only harm homeowners, they create a significant and ongoing burden for county department-wide, including the county clerk, sheriff's office, and register of deeds, the probate court, and corporate counsel, which must extend public resources to manage fraudulent claims and improperly filed probate estates. And whereas House Bill 5153 would directly stop this predatory model by making a mortgager's right to surplus money and right of redemption non-assignable and non-transferable after a notice of foreclosure is recorded, except through legitimate testate or in-state succession. And whereas House Bill 5152 would further protect homeowners by requiring a mandatory plain English notice of rights for any conveyance of property after foreclosure notice is recorded, ensuring the seller fully understands they are waiving their rights to redemption, occupancy, and surplus proceeds. And whereas the counties across Michigan have identified the burdens created by these practices and are asking the County of Montmorency Board of Commissioners for a resolution of support for this vital legislation. Now, therefore, be it hereby resolved that the County of Montmorency Board of Commissioners fully supports House Bills 5152 and 5153, which will protect Montmorency County residents and residents across the state of Michigan from foreclosure, fraud, preserve home equity for families, and reduce the burden on local government resources. Be it further resolved that the county clerk shall forward copies to the governor, the majority leader of the Michigan Senate, the House, and all Michigan counties for their consideration and action and distribution to all county clerks to be posted communication in each county. That's how it is presented. What is the board's pleasure?
I support it.
I would support it too. I'm just wondering if we should correct
We
where
need to
that
add
is
a
not,
few.
well, where that is not our example, the firsthand is not from our county. I don't want to present that as something that's come from our county because it's not. Cheryl's examples have been others, other incidents.
Oh, and the fourth whereas?
Right.
Okay.
And maybe in the meantime, we could.
Are you saying just
The
a-
word other county officials? Officials from other counties.
Yeah, that would probably be our solve it if you put that. Other county officials have witnessed firsthand.
We could do that.
So you want to switch that, the one where
Well, we
paid 100 for that 10,000 in that
This is
paragraph?
the very beginning, change it, officials from other counties.
Whereas
Yeah,
other
just
officials,
acknowledging it's not us.
right? Yeah, you could just do whereas other county officials have add the word other.
Well, that can sound
And I'm
still
just trying to make sure
Montmorency,
what
except for
paragraph are we
other
going with?
counties.
That fourth one, where it says whereas county officials have witnessed firsthand.
Okay, so other.
Yeah, Bob is suggesting whereas other county officials.
Say
Other
other county
counties.
officials, it could still imply. that
Right,
from
other
county-
counties.
Officials from other counties.
There you go.
How do we want to?
Officials from other counties, correct? A resolution requires a motion and a second and a roll call. So
Make the motion to accept it,
with that correction,
yeah, with the correction.
I'll second that.
we have a motion and we have a second. Any further discussion on it? Roll call, please, Cheryl.
Hardee's,
Yes.
Altier,
Yes.
Hamlin,
Yes.
Madison,
Yes,
DeBoer.
Yes,
All right, next on the agenda is the invasive species grant request for Avalon Lake. And
Morning, my name is Judy Nichols, almost forgot my name. It happens at my age. I'm secretary of the board of the Lake Avalon Property Owners Association, and I'm happy to be here with you today. Each of you has received a copy of a letter from our Lake Association President Dick Wolf regarding our request for renewal of grant funds for invasive species. Well, Clear Lake protection is essentially what their requests are for. As you may know, Avalon is one of the 2 cleanest lakes in the state, and it's the yardstick by which all other lakes are measured to be sure that they're clean and safe and fit to be active in. Our goal is to maintain this clean lake status, and it's a great recreational lake for swimmers, for boaters, for fishermen. And part of the grant funds that you've provided in the past, and we are asking for renewal for in the future, help pay the insurance that's required to run the boat wash at the public access site. The boat wash is the best assurance that we have that we can remove potential invasive hitchhikers that might otherwise contaminate the lake. Bill Houston today advised me that we need a slogan for the public access site, and I don't know whether we do or not, but let me just share with you, I wash my bottom, I wish you'd wash yours. So you may, if you have a boat, you may see that at Lake Avalon, and thank you, Bill, for that. Whatever works. But history, or what history we have, shows that washing boats and equipment helps protect, to get rid of those species that kind of hang on, that are looking for a new place to go and live and create problems. So the boat wash, the use of the boat wash does require insurance, and part of the funds would, grant funds would continue to help pay for that insurance. Additional monies would pay for the biannual limnology survey that we have to monitor the lake's health, and we do that with Savin Limnology Services. And similar to monitoring tests as for mammographies or PSA blood screenings, early detection is important and can stave off other more costly interventions. So the funds that you have provided through grants in the past have helped to pay for these 2 primary costs to preserve the integrity of the lake, and we are asking for renewal of those funds this year.
Did he, I think last year he came and gave us the report. You had that report 2 years ago, and I think he said everything was clear, right? When you did the lake.
Can I talk? We normally in the past have paid for the insurance. Since I've been here, I've never seen the biannual grant, the $950 for that, for the species survey. But I know in the past we have paid for the insurance.
That funding grant. Any questions?
Because what it says biannual, isn't biannual usually twice a year?
Every 2 years we have the survey done.
Because he had mentioned it last year.
Right, and
our meeting.
perhaps it was listed as something different, I don't know, but we've had the survey done. Well, it's not as old as I am, but we've had the survey done for a long time, every 2 years to ensure that we're assessing the clarity statuses. So perhaps it came to you and with different verbiage. I don't know why.
It could have been, but I just remember the insurance one, but not the invasive species survey one.
Yeah, it's that's one area that we've received help with, I know in the past, so I just don't know what it was.
Does anybody have any more questions?
Have you ever considered like a donation type thing at the launch itself?
We, the requirements through the state and for the boat wash, we cannot be in a money requesting mode. I suppose we can have a donation requests, and we have received some donations sometimes, but we can't ask you to pay for the service of having your boat washed, which in my mind makes good sense, but
Yeah, that's not what I was saying, just Like a lot of places like campgrounds got the metal pole, you can ask people to leave a donation for the fee for the annual renewal, so that having to ask for it every year. You already have money for 2 years. I think it wouldn't be that hard to come up with that much money.
It's a good point. I'll take that back to our group.
But another question is that we only do it for this one with all the lakes that we have in the county.
But it is available. I know we talked about that last year. It's available to the other lakes. They just have to approach us because the money from this is already sitting there. Well, not for this particular thing, but we already have a fund for this. The funds are available. There's right now 29,000. Originally, it came from the gypsy moth millage that the board, and then the board just made the authorization that people just need to request it.
And it's for
And Lake
invasive
Avalon
species
requests it.
control, right?
Right, yes, it is.
I have one more question. Are you asking for both of these today?
Yes.
Okay.
The remaining funds need to be approved for each grant, request. So Avalon has been the ongoing project that's presented, because I know somebody had suggested some other like last year, but I don't remember.
Avalon is the only one that has the boat wash
Mhm.
in our area. As a matter
Now,
of
is that a private lake? Can anybody go on it, or is that?
No,
public?
anyone can go on it.
Okay.
And bring your boat.
And that's a DNR requirement for is that a DNR requirement for the insurance?
Yes, it is. And it's a requirement. There's a few requirements that go with having the boat wash, and one of them is not being able to charge for the use of the service, but with very, very limited exceptions, people have been very supportive of, yes, thank you, wash my boat, and here's my fishing tackle. That is great too, so we've been very fortunate. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your support. We appreciate it.
What is the board's recommendation? Or what's your pleasure? They want to make a motion? We can talk it. I'll make a motion that we utilize the funds from the invasive species grant for public liability insurance and biannual invasive species survey, but not to exceed a $2,000 limit. I'll make that motion. Is there support?
I'll second.
Okay, so now let's discuss.
Not to exceed how much, Mary?
2,000, I'm sorry.
I don't have a problem with it. It seems like a small amount for one lake, but as the years go by, if you get more and more lakes doing that, and there's a lot of lakes in this county, and that invasive species grant isn't gonna last forever. You're gonna have to come up with a way to
No.
fund that further down the road.
But your suggestion was good. If they take that back, that's a good way to start. And my question is why are we not getting more lakes? Probably because it's not promoted. I think people need to know it's here to utilize is probably, I'm sure what the issue is. So maybe that's something. I don't know about our website. Do we have a grant? I don't know our response. Maybe that's something, Dawn, you could add that we could look at, because we have other lake associations. And I don't know that they're at the same level and it wouldn't be the same need. But maybe there'd be something that is needed out there. And again, it was for the gypsy moths originally, it wasn't.
Can I ask one more question about the motion? Would that include, because we haven't seen the bill yet for the insurance, so that would include for both of them because of the mileage?
Yes, I said the annual insurance and the biannual comprehensive.
Okay, I just
invasive species
that.
up to.
Okay.
So that would be the combined.
Just making sure so when it comes in that we'll pay it.
Yeah.
Who seconded the motion?
Jim did.
Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, roll call please, Cheryl.
Peltier,
Yes.
Hamlin,
Yes.
Madison,
Yes.
DeBrent,
Yes.
Hardees.
Yes. Motion passes. Without exception is 10:05. We are adjourned. Thank you.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, she's enjoying herself.
You're in trouble.
You got to
Call to the principal.
go to the principal's office.
No, you're not.
It's good that you spend time with you.
I know I kept looking at things I told you like your son.
Thank you. You know what I was doing?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I can look at it.
I know.